Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Fitness Education Series produced by the Australian Fitness Academy. It's like progressive overload for your brain. I'm your host, Tom Rock, and in today's episode I'm going to talk about the advantages of meal prep. So meal prep is basically, it can be a number of different things, but preparing meals in advance. So whether it's you pick a day and you're just going to make a whole lot of potentially one meal, that is a big portion, and split that up so you can eat it, say, for lunches throughout the week. So you might cook a kilo worth of chicken and then eat that and have that ready to go for your lunches for the week. And I guess there's lots of benefits to meal prep, and this is something that is good to help your clients with or people you're working with in terms of no matter what their goal is, whether their goal is to lose weight or to build muscle, meal prep can be a really good tool that can assist them. But there's lots of good advantages to it. Sometimes it does take a bit to get in the habit of it or for people to get used to it potentially. But it is something that if they can sort of develop that skill, clients can develop that skill, it can be a tool they use that's going to help them reach their fitness goals. And there are a few advantages to it, and we'll sort of talk about them in this episode. So I guess the first one is also that, as well as we'll go into all how it can help you lose weight and all that sort of stuff, but one of a really good advantage of meal prep is it can help you save money. So while you have to buy the food and get it all prepped and ready to go, it can actually be cheaper than, say, getting takeaway for dinner or buying smaller batches of food or buying ready prepared meals. You can get a lot of bang for your buck if you buy things in bulk and cook things in bulk, and you can generally make relatively easy meals, and you'll find yourself it's easy to meal prep with whole foods rather than sort of processed foods and ready to go stuff. You can buy in bulk, and you're prepping like vegetables, your meats, chicken, beef, mince, all those sort of things are easy to meal prep, and they're relatively cheap compared to, say, buying meals out, or even if you're talking about fast food, we'll sort of talk about that, but you can get a lot of kilojoules in fast food, but it doesn't necessarily fill you up with all the good nutrients, vitamins and minerals that you need to get the most out of your training, or even just feel good generally throughout the day. So it can help save money, meal prep, just by sort of being consistent with what you buy, and you end up potentially buying less takeaways throughout the week, whether it's for dinner or for lunch. It can save time as well, and that's one reason for meal prep, and probably one reason why maybe clients that you're working with can't eat consistently, or they don't eat healthy, or as healthy as they potentially should if they're trying to lose weight or whatever their goal is. Because it can take a lot of time. If I don't prep my meals in advance, maybe I'm having to prepare lunch every day, or if it's dinner, I have to get home after work and I have to go to the shops and cook dinner. And then that takes time, and that's a lot of the time that you might get home and you can't be bothered, and that's when you're going to get Uber Eats, you're going to go to fast food or takeaway, or go down to the local pub for dinner, and that's fine to do every now and then, but if you're doing it regularly, you're obviously spending more money, but also we're not getting the nutrients or consistency in good food. We're sort of going to those quicker, easier options that aren't necessarily as good for us, which in the long run is what sort of gets us to the potentially overweight goal, or hinders us from making progress with all our good work and exercise in the gym. So meal prep, if we obviously it's going to take a bit of time. So say on Saturday or a Sunday, you take some time and you meal prep. It may take an hour and a half on the weekend, but that may save you heaps of time, like half an hour a night. So it adds up to 2-3 hours throughout the week where you don't have to cook meals or go to the shops and get things for dinner or worry about what you're going to eat. You've got healthy meals ready to go. So it can save time. And meal prep doesn't have to be a long, arduous task. Barbecues are great options. You can cook a whole lot of chicken on the barbecue very, very easily, and it doesn't take long. Even the oven is a good place to do meal prep. You can obviously do meal prep on the stove, cook up a big bolognese or something, which will take time, but you can keep it give clients ideas on how to keep it relatively simple in terms of getting your vegetables or your meats cooked and making sure it's all prepped and ready to go. It will save time in the long run throughout the week where you don't have to worry about getting the ingredients or putting them together, standing there cooking once you get home from work. Your healthy lunches are ready to go, or your dinners are ready to go. So can definitely save time and give you that option. I guess nutritionally, and we'll talk about weight control, I guess, and how does it help you lose weight. Obviously, weight loss is going to be all about kilojoules in versus kilojoules out. So if I want to lose weight, I have to be expending more kilojoules than I am intaking. If I meal prep, I've basically got all these whole foods potentially and relatively healthy meals that I'm going to eat throughout the week, and it's a lot easier to set out portions and have a bit more portion control throughout your food. So the food you actually prepare and intake is going to be healthy, and the portions are a little bit more controlled. Even if you don't go weigh your food, you're going to break it down into potentially 4 meals or 5 meals or whatever it is, and keep it relatively consistent, which is also important. Without meal prep, I'm potentially eating out, so I'm not getting all that fresh fruit potentially or fresh food, whole foods. You might end up eating a lot more processed things. And the thing about meal prep, if you are prepping, it's generally healthy food. So you're generally potentially getting some protein in, which protein is going to be a lot more filling, and you're going to get these meals with protein, maybe some rice and some vegetables or some potatoes, those sort of things. And it's good whole food that is going to actually fill you up, and you can think about what you're putting into it and how much protein am I getting in, and you can sort of see a bit more of an overall balance of your diet and your nutritional intake, and it's going to be a consistent thing that you can stick to, which is a lot more easy to track if it's working. Do I need to eat more or less? That sort of thing. And with the good meals, you're going to feel fuller and have more energy, and that's going to stop you potentially binge eating, having those snacks in the afternoon, whether it's chocolate bar, those sort of things. It's going to potentially stop those takeaway for lunches at work, or even takeaway or going out for dinner, just because you can't be bothered cooking. You're going to have these ready-to-go meals that are healthy and filling. And you can buy pre-packaged, ready-to-go meals these days, things like U-Foods or My Muscle Chef, sort of common-ish ones that you can pick up from the supermarket. But again, they're not necessarily cheap in terms of compared to takeaway, but they're not as cheap as preparing yourself. So you can save money preparing these meals yourself, and they're probably a bit more filling, and you have more control over how much you're eating, what you're putting in them, and that sort of thing. So finding some recipes that you like that you can cook in bulk and have ready to go is a really good way to keep your nutrition consistent throughout the week, which will help you not overeat kilojoules in overly processed foods or takeaway, those sort of things. So it really helps with that. It can also just be less stressful. Some people find working out what you want to eat, you don't have to worry about last minute decisions, getting home, going, what am I going to cook for dinner, where then you end up deciding, oh, we'll just go out and we'll get something. It takes that worrying about what you're going to eat at the last minute. You know that the meal's there, ready to go, you do your meal prep, and that's just what you eat. So lots of positives to meal prep. Again, it doesn't have to be every meal, but it can help to have meals ready to go, even if it's just your lunches, or every second night you've got meal prep or meals ready to go, or you know that there's a certain night of the week where you've got to work late or you have something on after work, and if you don't have a meal at home ready to go, then you're likely just to get McDonald's or takeaway on the way home. If you have that meal ready to go, you're more likely to eat that good healthy food than make that sort of rushed decision that, oh, I'm not going to have time to cook anything, I'm just going to get takeaway. So it can remove those sort of situations, so you're more likely to eat consistently healthy. And if someone can consistently eat good food, they're going to get a lot better results in the gym. They're going to have probably more energy to train because they're eating consistently with good foods, and we can track how much kilojoules they're eating consistently. So they're going to have more energy to train, but they're potentially eating less of that junk food as well. So it's going to be easier for them to lose weight, even though they potentially feel like they're eating lots, because if you eat lots of good whole foods, it's generally a lot more filling than, say, eating takeaway all the time. So you'll find you're not filling up as much junk, and they can control their portion sizes a bit. So lots of advantages to meal prep. I think it's something you definitely want to educate your clients on a little bit when it gets to that stage, and if they're asking questions and all that sort of stuff. Again, you don't have to give them, like, it doesn't matter what they eat or how they eat it. If they can meal prep some good whole foods that's convenient for them, and they can cook them up pretty simply, that's a good result. And then in the end, they can sort of use that tool when they want to have some good healthy meals ready to go. And over the long run, that's going to be really beneficial, rather than just try cooking healthy meals every night, or they have to have something healthy. It can get a little bit harder if it's not prepped and ready to go. This just takes all the stress out of having to worry about it day in, day out, and they know they've prepped it, and they'll just go in, that's their lunch, that's their lunch, that's their lunch, they take it. Rather than have to worry about it every day, and the more you have to make decisions last minute, get something in quickly, the easier it is just to go straight to takeaway food. So having a good healthy meal ready to go will help in the long run. And if you can save some money doing it, that's also a bonus, I guess. So yeah, just my thoughts on meal prep, guys. If you do currently meal prep, shoot me an email. If you got any good recipes, what's your go-to sort of food to prepare in the long run? Have you seen any sort of downsides of meal prep? Like, some people, you don't get a lot of variety sometimes with meal prep, so sometimes that can be hard for people to stick to in the long run. So potentially just, diversifying what food you can prep, or making the recipes a little bit different week in, week out can help, because that's something that you don't get if you do meal prep. You don't get a heap of different variety in your foods potentially. But yeah, let me know your experiences with meal prep, guys, if you do it. Some people will do it regularly. They'll just have a day on the weekend or a day during the week that they go, yep, that's my meal prep day, and they'll get all their food cooked up. So during the week, they don't have to think about it. It's up and ready to go. But get in touch if you've got any thoughts on meal prep, guys, any questions on it. But yeah, let me know what you think of that. Anyway, any other questions, any other topics, please email anytime email me at any time. So tom@afa.com.au. Shoot an email through. Definitely happy to expand on this topic, cover any more topics you guys would like me to discuss. On that, have a great weekend, and I'll talk to you all soon.